Hello, students. In this lecture, we will begin with a new topic. The title of the topic is Paradise Lost, written by John Milton. Now, before we begin with the discussion of the topic itself, we need to learn a bit details of few details of the life of Mr. John Milton. Now, John Milton, he was a Puritan, and he is considered one of the greatest poet of his age, and Paradise Lost is considered his best creation. Now, when it comes to the date of birth and the date of demise of John Milton, he was born on 9th of December 1608 and he died on 8th of November 1674. Now, John Milton, you must know, he was a Puritan and he belonged to the reign of Oliver Cromwell. Now we are talking about the time when we are talking about the time before restoration, means when monarchy, it was not it was like out of like rule. Mr. Oliver Cromwell, he ruled over that time, and he was a Puritan, and they supported Puritanism, means they were against the monarchy. Means Charles, when after Elizabeth died, you know that James the sixth, he was made the king. He was you can say the king of France, son of Queen Mary of France. But he was declared the, you can say, the heir of Britain, and afterwards his son, after the demise of Charles I, when Charles I was executed by the like the Puritans, and this was the time when this Oliver Cromwell ruled, and during his reign there was a total, you can say, ban on literature, music, poetry and all. Theatres, they were burnt down. So this was the time to which John Milton belongs. He was himself a Puritan and he supported Puritanism. And as far as his education is concerned, this we have discussed, that he was a staunch believer in the philosophy of Puritanism. And if we talk about his education and early life, he was a short-heighted man, sort of having very delicate manners, and because of his mannerism and his ladylike looks, ladylike features, he was called the Lady of Christ. And he was bullied during his childhood. He did not enjoy a very healthy childhood because he was bullied because of his short stature and his looks, because of his feminine looks. And that was the reason that he isolated himself, he alienated himself from the society, and he devoted himself to the study of literature and to religion. Near his school there was a cathedral where Mr. John Donne, he used to deliver sermons, and he used to give his lectures on religious themes. And he became a huge he was greatly influenced by the teachings of John Donne and by the, you can say, the literature of John Donne. And he spent most of his time in isolation, reading literature, reading classical literature of Latin, French. Not only this, he visited France and Italy, and he came back after Charles II. He was restored to monarchy, and this was the time when all the Puritans, they were executed because they were against monarchy. And when monarchy was established, when Charles II, he started to reign Britain, then it put an end to the rest. It put an end to the, you can say, the rule of Oliver Cromwell. and this was the time when his struggle began. Now, because he was a Puritan, because John Milton was a Puritan and he supported Puritanism, and he was a follower of Oliver Cromwell, so he had to suffer because of that. He had to flee, he had to run away, he had to hide, he had to fear utter poverty. Um, if we talk about his works, it is not that he wrote just Paradise Lost. There were certain works which he wrote, like it is Lycidas, Comus. Yeah, now we must not forget that he was imprisoned during the reign of Charles II, means when Restoration period began, and he was imprisoned, and it was a time when he lost his eyesight, he lost his son, he lost his wife. That was a time when he wrote the poem on his blindness. That was the time when he wrote Paradise Lost. Now, Paradise Lost is considered the greatest epic of all times of English literature, and this is heavily influenced by Bible itself. You can say it is a further elaboration of Bible, because excuse me, just give me a moment. Hanji. So he was influenced by Bible, and Paradise Lost is, in fact, you can say, another version of Bible which mainly talks about the fall of man. Especially in our syllabus, we have Paradise Lost book 1 only. Okay, when we talk about Paradise Lost, it was written around 1663 and it was first published in the year 1667. There are 12 books. There are 10 books of Paradise Lost and 2 books of Paradise Regained. Paradise Regained was first published in 1671. Paradise Lost talks about how how the first man and the first lady, Adam and Eve, how they were cast out of heaven, and Paradise Regained, the 11th and 12th book, they talk about how paradise was regained by humans because of their worthy deeds, how Christ helped them. Okay, how Jesus Christ helped them. Now, when we talk about Paradise Lost, there are 12 books of Paradise Lost, and but in our syllabus we have just the first book of Paradise Lost, and the PDF that you can see on your screen, it is of just the first book. Now, if you now let us talk about certain details. Before we talk about certain details of Paradise Lost, there is a statement made by the famous poet, critic, writer, pre-romantic writer, Mr. William Blake, who said that Milton belongs to devil's party without knowing it. This is a very, very important statement, and most of the time questions from Paradise Lost, they begin with this statement. Okay, that Milton belongs to the devil party without knowing it means. Now, one thing that we must know is John Milton was a Puritan. Okay, he strongly believed in Bible, but what appears that he has done in Paradise Lost, he has glorified the devil himself. Who is the devil? Satan is the devil. He has glorified Satan in a way that it became a great success. Having read Paradise Lost, the readers, they somehow have the feeling that Milton, instead of you can say, instead of glorifying God, he has glorified Satan. That is why William Blake made this statement that Milton belongs to devil's party without knowing it. That it appears that he has supported devil, means he has supported Satan without knowing it, means he did not realize that he has glorified Satan, means he had presented Satan as a hero rather than God as a hero. Okay, so this play was not just this epic, it was not just available in books. It was even performed, it was first performed by John Dryden. Okay, he directed the theme of the this epic Paradise Lost, and the name of his play was A State of Innocence. There are many more comments regarding Paradise Lost, but first we need to go through the storyline of Paradise Lost. It is, you can say, a replica of Bible, but with further more elaborate details. Now, if we talk about the story of the Paradise Lost, the story goes like this: that in heaven, God was the, you can say, master of heaven and master. Okay, now we are talking about the times when there was no other world, when there was no hell, when there was no mortal, when there was no man, no woman, nothing. There was just one place called heaven, and here God resided with his angels. His most dear angel was Lucifer. His, you can say, the most powerful angel, the angel that was most dear to God. Okay, and now Lucifer, he, you can say, he was the head of the, you can say, the army of God himself. Now Lucifer, he started becoming ambitious. He started realizing that he has equal powers, that he is equal to God in all the matters. So why he must obey God? Why not? Why should God rule heaven? Why should he not rule heaven? So he tried to overthrow God, and he tried to capture heaven. So a war started between Lucifer and God. Now, one third of the angels of God, they supported Lucifer. Okay, so the war was, now all those angels of God who supported Lucifer, they were called fallen angels later on. They were called fallen angels. Okay, now it was very obvious that he lost the battle, that Lucifer lost the battle, and he was thrown out of this heaven along with his fallen angels. Okay, now it is believed that for complete 6 days, something, that for many days they kept on falling from heaven. Now, here comes the existence of hell. Hell was the place that was created by God for the sake of Lucifer and his fallen angels. Now, the moment when Lucifer was thrown out of heaven, he became a Satan. Now, he was no longer an angel. Now, he became the devil. Okay, now he became a demon. His appearance, it changed drastically. Now his appearance resembled more like a demon. So earlier there was just one place, heaven. Okay, then there comes a place called hell. Hell was made by God for the sake of Lucifer and his fallen angels. One third of the angels who supported Lucifer, they were thrown out of hell, and they were thrown in a pit. Okay, it was a dark pit that was burning. There was fire in that pit. That pit was called hell. Now, the first book basically talks about the disobedience of man. It talks about how God created Adam and Eve, how Lucifer, he was turned into Satan. It talks about the battle between Lucifer and God. It also talks about how Lucifer misguided Eve to taste the fruit of knowledge. Now let us talk about the another aspect of the epic, that is the creation of Adam and Eve. Now, though all of us know that Adam and Eve are considered the first man and woman of who were ever born. Now, first God made Adam. Adam was a human being, but he was immortal. Okay. Now, God made Garden of Eden in heaven, a place, a very beautiful place, full of all the you can say full of very beautiful and trees loaded with fruits. Now, in that Eden, there was a tree named Tree of Knowledge. Okay, this tree had very delicious fruits, let us say apples. Okay, now when God made Adam, Adam was very happy. He was, you can say, a follower of God. But slowly, as the time passed, now we must not forget that Adam was immortal. Okay, he could not die. Now, Adam felt lonely and he requested God to create a companion, to make a companion for him, that to bless him with a companion. Then God created a woman from the ribs of man, from the ribs of first man named Adam. So it is believed, as per Bible, as per Paradise Lost, that woman was created, or a female was created from the ribs of a man. And as per the instruction of God, her job, the job of Eve, was to provide company to Adam and to support him. Okay, now Adam and Eve, they were free from all the, you can say, all the pain, sufferings. They did not have any idea about like about love, anger, hatred, lust. Means they were free from all the sins. They were pure hearted. Now, when Lucifer, when he was thrown out of heaven, now Lucifer decided to have a revenge. Now he could not defeat God in a direct war, so he tried to hurt God by hurting the most, you can say, the most valuable or the most precious creation of God, that is man, that is Adam and Eve. So he visited heaven disguised as a snake, and he provoked Eve to. Now, sorry, I forgot to mention, God asked Adam and Eve, not, God instructed them not to go near the tree of knowledge and never to eat the fruit of tree of knowledge, because they were unaware of all the sins. They were unaware of like hunger, hatred and all. So because they had no knowledge, so God forbidded them not to eat the God asked them not to eat the fruit of knowledge at any cost. It was barred for them. They were not allowed to taste the fruit of tree of knowledge. Okay, otherwise they will be thrown out of heaven. Now, Lucifer, he came in the disguise of a snake. Okay, and he lured this Eve to taste the fruit of tree of knowledge. First, this Eve, she was not tempted, but slowly she gave up to the provocations, to the temptations of Satan. Now Satan, he disguised himself as a snake. Okay, and at last Eve, she could not resist eating the that fruit of tree of knowledge, and she ate it. Now, having eaten that fruit, she immediately realized her state of being naked. Now Adam and Eve, when God sent them to, when God created them, they were both naked, because they were fall from all the voices, they were fall from all the desires, you can say, like lust and all. But as soon as Eve tasted the fruit, she became aware of all the feelings. Now she realized that she is naked, which she should not be. Now she was in terrible pain because now she had to suffer the consequences. When Adam saw her in pain, Adam knew what would happen to him if he would repeat the same mistake, but he could not see Eve in pain, and he did the same mistake because he knew that he now Eve will be thrown out of heaven, and he could not tolerate the thought of being alone in heaven. So he also ate the fruit of that tree, and as a consequence they both were cast out of heaven, and now they were not immortals, now they became mortals, and then they were sent to earth to live, to suffer. So Adam and Eve, they are considered the first creation of God, the first living creation of the first human creation of God, I would say. Now this basically book talks about these themes. The basic theme is fall of man, man's first disobedience to God, and fall of man as a result of this. Okay, so this was the theme of Paradise Lost. Now if we talk about you can see in now there has been a tradition to invoke muses. Muses are, there are basically 9 muses as per literature, as per Bible, or it may say as per the Christian mythology. There are 9 muses. Like in Hindu religion, we invoke goddess Saraswati to impart us knowledge and to for the auspicious beginning of a ceremony. In the same way, Milton, he invokes the muke of Holy Spirit in book 1. Now let us read it out. The argument. Okay, now the argument means here it discusses basically the theme and the in a way the summary of Paradise Lost. The first book proposes first in brief the whole subject, man's disobedience and the loss thereupon of paradise wherein he was placed. It is placed. T here refers to ed. Okay, so the theme is man's you have to underline this line and you can quote it, of man's disobedience and the loss thereupon of paradise wherein he was placed. Means that was his residence where man was placed by God. Who was first man? Adam. Then touches the prime cause of his fall, the serpent, or rather Satan in the serpent, who revolting from God and drawing to his side many legions of angels, was by the command of God driven out of heaven and with all his crew into the great deep. Great deep here refers to hell, because hell was first a deep pit out of which they made a place that is similar to heaven. Satan and his fallen angels, they made a pandemonium for Satan, where Satan could stand and deliver his motivational lectures and speeches. So it talks about that how man was what created the fall of man, and the serpent was the reason, because the serpent, the snake, or you can say the Satan in the body of snake, he provoked Eve to taste the fruit, and as a result Adam also disobeyed the God and they were cast out of hell. Now next line, which action passed over the poem husks into the midst of things, presenting Satan with his angels now fallen into hell, described here not in the center, for heaven and earth may be supposed as yet not made, certainly not yet accursed. Means this line refers that up to that time heaven and hell and earth they were not made. It was when Adam and Eve disobeyed God, they were sent to earth, and when Satan revolted against God, he was sent to hell. So before Satan revolted, there was hell did not exist. This line means that. But in place of utter darkness, fittest called chaos. It was also called chaos. Here Satan with his angels lying on the burning lake, thunderstruck and astonished, after a certain space recovers as from confusion, calls up him who next in order and dignity lay by him. They confer of the their miserable fall. Satan awakens all his legions who lay till then in the same manner confounded. They rise, their number array of battle, their chief leaders named according to the idols known afterwards in Canaan and countries adjoining. To these Satan directs his speech, confronts them with hope yet of regaining heaven, but tells them lastly of new world and new kind of creature to be created according to an ancient prophecy or report in heaven. For that angels were long before his visible creation was the opinion of many ancient fathers. Now it talks about these few lines. They talks about how Satan, he assembles his fallen angels and he tries to motivate them to give up the despair and to rise again to conquer heaven. Now basically the speeches that were given to Satan, that were given by Satan to his fallen angels, are the, you can say, the highlight of Paradise Lost Book 1. When we go through this book 1, then we will get to know that how exceptionally John Milton has given a mouthpiece to Satan for him to motivate, to, you can say, to conjure you can say, a sort of to conjure a rebellion that was there in these fallen angels. So when you will go through the speeches of Satan, then you will realize that Satan appears as a hero of Paradise Lost. It is not God who looks like a hero. It is the speeches of Satan who appears to inspire the readers, and to a great I would like you people to know that speeches that were made by Satan have been randomly used, have been repeatedly used by people for motivation. Even like for instance, I while preparing for NetJRF, I used to paste all those. There were posters. I had posters having speeches of this Satan, a few of the lines of the speech of Satan, and I used to paste them above my study table. And these are so motivational, so inspiring quotes that certainly inspire many of us. And these speeches, they have also been used by motivational speakers, okay, to instill some sort of to instill hope among their audience. Okay, now in this book there is one good angel, that is Raphael, angel of God, who remains good throughout the epic. Now one more thing, you must know what is epic. Epic is basically a long poem that talks about high themes, that talks about exalted things of grave concern, things of serious concern, okay, like of battles of gods, of kings. So now the main Satan is in fact Lucifer. When he was in heaven, then he was Lucifer. When he was thrown to hell, then Lucifer becomes Satan. Okay, now Raphael is the good angel of God. Satan had three followers. The name of the followers were like they were Beelzebub, Mammon and Belial. They were the three, you can say, followers of Satan. Okay, now in the that's it for this lecture. In the next lecture, I would like you to now students, please, I would like to have an online lecture, and I would like you to give suggestions on the timing in the group itself. So that's it for this lecture. In the next lecture, we'll continue with the same topic. So